Broadcasting live from our studio in Boston, Solutions Review is proud to showcase Appian in the Solution Spotlight, an exclusive webinar event.
I'm Doug Atkinson here at Solutions Review, and welcome to this Solution Spotlight featuring Appian. The Solutions Review Spotlight series allows us to take a deeper dive into innovative technologies that are changing the way business gets done. And today, we're looking at a solution that is revolutionizing modern application development and business process automation by providing business users a powerful, low-code platform. Simply put, Appian helps organizations to rapidly build apps and workflows to improve customer experience, achieve operational excellence, and simplify global risk management and compliance. And joining us today from Athens, Georgia, is Jonathan Rulin, Solutions Consultant at Appian, to walk us through the platform. Jonathan, welcome.
It's great to be here, Doug. Thank you so much for allowing us to really show off the Appian platform today and how it can help create those applications much quicker than are being done most commonly today.
Well, actually, I think it's an incredibly timely topic of conversation. Our editorial staff has been covering low-code development for some time now. Certainly, we cover BPM and application development. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you found your way to Appian and really the low-code solutions.
So my journey started my last stint with a software organization was in the insurance space. And in insurance, you have a lot of disparate systems. You have maybe a claims management system or an underwriting system and a document management system. And as we were going through that, the users would always have to decide what they wanted to kind of be their main user interface, which then would talk to other systems. And customers would say, isn't there just a single pane of glass that we could put on top of all of these systems to orchestrate and automate? And I happened upon Appian, and I was like, that's exactly what the industry, that's exactly what customers want, is this modern, flexible user interface to connect these systems. And so I jumped at the chance to start working for them. Well,
so just to give everybody a sense of kind of how we're going to proceed here, I know you're going to walk us through a little bit of the industry overview and certainly some of the solution perspective, and then you're going to work your way into a full demo of the Appian platform. Why don't you take us through a few of the slides, and I think what we'll do is we'll take a pause and maybe have a poll where we can gauge some of our audience's thoughts around low code and the trends there, and then we'll work our way into the demo. Is that all right with you?
That sounds perfect.
Excellent.
As you mentioned, low code has been around for a while. Being able to create applications rapidly is something that you guys have been covering. In 2020, with everything that we've been going through, it didn't actually create that trend. But what it did is it vastly accelerated the trends that were already there. I mean, COVID-19, as an example, forced a lot of businesses globally to rethink about their people and their processes and their systems. And business needed to adapt very quickly, and they turned to low code. And so that's really where all of our recognition came into play. We've been doing this for a long time, but they needed that unique platform to build those applications and build those workflows rapidly, to combine people and technologies and data into that single workflow. And again, that's why we're talking today, is how can we help you maximize resources and improve your business results? Now, quick overview of how customers use Appian. We discussed it just a second ago with that COVID application. When you need to create an application from scratch, from the ground up, you don't have an infrastructure that's able to handle the information that you need to collect, or the workflows or the processes. Appian is able to be that platform to build that new application on. And we were able to, in under 4 weeks, build that end-to-end workforce safety solution for vaccination tracking, contact tracing, and case management capabilities. a lot of times we see that existing systems are good for what they're designed to do, but usually when it comes to workflow and interaction across different teams and silos, those applications tend to fall down. You've got to worry about permissions, you've got to worry about security, and give maybe additional people access that don't really need to use the system on a day-to-day basis. And so you can also use Appian to build an application to help extend those existing processes, to bolt on to existing systems, to provide full access, full visibility, and kind of enhance what you have out of the box with some of these. And the third way, and the way that most of our customers gain the biggest and largest value from Appian, is they want to really create and unify a connected experience. As an example, Aviva, a very large insurance provider, in their call center, they had 22 different systems that their call center agents were trying to connect to and access and copy and paste information from one screen to another. And so with Appian, they were able to build a unified experience, bringing in the data from these disparate systems right for what they are trying to accomplish, as well as giving them the ability to take action on that data. And so that connection and unification of multiple systems and bringing all that data together, again, provides the most value, and you're building that right on the Appian platform.
Jonathan, before you jump off this slide, I'd love to just dive into that a little bit deeper, because I think that last point is very interesting for our audience, and that is that I think some people, when they think about low-code application development, they're thinking about one-off applications rather than this kind of unifying application, if you will, where they can, as you said, create connections and efficiencies around some of the more established applications that they have in their businesses and in business lines of business that really just are working kind of siloed and independently.
Yeah, you're exactly right, and that's really kind of the different. There's different levels of low code, I guess you could call it. People have attacked it different ways, and a lot of the times when you think of low code, you think of box number one. It's a siloed application. I want my business users to quickly be able to build a form to submit data. With Appian, our heritage is all about business process management. And so we're not, hey, let's make it low code and then figure out how to do complex things. We started on the opposite end. We said we can handle extremely complex workflows, decisions, integrations, connections to data. But what we want to do is we want to lower the threshold from a technical perspective of how people can actually come in and build applications. And if they're very highly technical, we want them to be able to build it much quicker than what they would do if they had to simply code it. And so with Appian, when we talk about low code, yes, we're low code, but it's really a complete automation platform that we've made it very easy and very quick to be able to build and make changes and be very flexible.
Well, and I think that's kind of an interesting point, in that what we're really talking about, as much as anything, is a way to create business process automation and management systems that are more innovative, can be developed more rapidly, but are really designed to create efficiencies within the organization rather than just building applications.
That's exactly right. It's where you have that intersection of people and data and processes, being able to hand tasks off and work across departments, be able to move information through the process itself, and really help orchestrate all of that into that single workflow. And when you have everything in a single workflow, that enables all of your data. You can report on that. You can analyze that. All of the information, instead of each task kind of sitting in its own system, Appian brings all of that into one visible area, which again allows for that reporting. So now you're able to see exactly what people are doing, even if they're doing it in a completely separate application.
Yeah, great, thanks.
And it ties into that next slide there around automation in the modern workflow. When we talk about automation, a lot of people may think that automation means hands off. If I automate something, then I have no control over it. It's just going forward. But really, as we're talking about automation, it's how can we use the resources we have to do the things that they are great at, and not make systems or processes or people do things that maybe something else is a little bit better to do it. And so this is kind of where when we're thinking about Appian, a lot of people, when they think automation, they think just those bottom two rows. So anything in there, I'm going to drop it in at the beginning, and whatever I get at the end, then I'll have a human try to figure it out. Appian provides the flexibility to decide when you want your human workers to take action, when you want an RPA bot to access a legacy system or to do some manual task that can very easily be automated, where we want to then feed the information that's being returned from that bot into an AI or machine learning to make decisions, and then bring that back to either automate through a couple more steps or be able to handle all of the exceptions and case management that come with that. Because you can't solve and automate 100% of the tasks 100% of the time. And so where Appian is different, and we talked about it a little bit, Doug, thanks for those questions, just around Appian and low code. We're not that siloed one-off application. We orchestrate the complete automation across the entire end-to-end process with those automation capabilities. On top of just being able to orchestrate, this is where the true differentiator of Appian is that we're able to do those complex things, but we're able to do them very quickly. So reports have come back saying 10 times, 17 times that people are able to build applications inside of Appian as compared to custom development. And another large differentiator there is the low code data. We have all of the information we're able to bring into Appian, but you don't have to migrate and move the data. So your data sits where it is, and we're able to easily integrate to help accelerate those application creations.
Not to completely derail you again, but I love when you hit points like this, because I think what we're seeing again from our audience is really business users who want the ability to develop processes that are a little more complicated and not manual, but yet don't want to go down a full application development cycle with developers and a whole standalone team that's kind of building something that requires a whole development cycle. They really want to be able to have that power at their fingertips to be able to do these types of things quickly. And I think that's what's so interesting right now about low code.
Agree 100%. That's really where that acceleration comes to bear, because you are going to be working with your IT teams. It's not shadow IT. It's not something that you do offhand. You're working hand in hand with your IT partners. But the benefit of Appian is my people on the business side that are a little bit more technical, that understand how things work. They're able to go through and be able to create and develop inside of Appian, so that your IT maybe are dealing a little bit more with security and with DevOps and maintenance of kind of the overlying platform. But as a business user, I have now the power to change processes. I can go in and add additional fields. I can change UIs. I can actually work inside and make our process better without needing an IT resource to go and make those changes for me.
Right. It's great.
And then the last piece there is just around the scalability. So when we get into the performance, the governance, the dev ops, the security, all of that with Appian Cloud shows the capabilities that we have, that using the Appian platform, the reliability that we have, all of our credentials from a security perspective, and again, really the scalable nature of the Appian platform. You're not having to manage individual processes one at a time. We're handling billions of transactions every day on the Appian platform, and our customers are seeing amazing results. We had that one study that was around 10 times faster. We commissioned this study, so Forrester went out and did a fantastic job asking really what people thought and the benefit that they received from an unbiased location or unbiased source. And so we can see 17 times faster application, your reduction in developer costs, huge amount of savings over a 3-year period. And I think this is kind of where we wanted to put up a poll.
Yeah, that's right. We do. We have a poll that's ready to go. That basically will allow everybody watching to really give us an indication as to why you're looking at low code and some of the things that that would move the needle for you internally by implementing a low code solution. And we'll give that a few minutes to percolate, and then we'll report on the results there. I know we have a video. Do you want to talk a little bit about the TELUS case study as a practical matter?
Absolutely. And unfortunately, I'm not able to vote on that Appian poll. I was really looking forward to voting, but I'm a panelist, so. And you can't either, Doug, because you're the host. So neither one of us get our voices heard. It's all about our viewers.
That's
today.
The way it goes around here.
That's right. So yeah, just really quickly, for those of you who were on a little bit earlier, it was great to, hopefully you were able to see it. There's a video that we'll have queued up a little bit later on. But it is all about how you can transform your business. And it's not just simple kind of basic processes. It's very complex processes. And so we've got great case studies and great user stories and great videos out on our website, so that you can access it and see what other customers are doing, be able to get in there and look at that TELUS testimonial there and how they developed the Maestro system to be able to bring together more than 11 different applications, being able to sunset finally over 5 legacy applications that they never could do before, because they didn't have a way to serve all of that information up and have it viewable without having those existing systems. So because you're creating that single pane of glass to access multiple systems, the end user doesn't really know or care where that data is coming from. So it allows you to be much more flexible in the future as you change your data sources, change where that information comes from.
So I think we have the results of the Appian poll before we move over on the low code business drivers, I guess we'd call it.
Absolutely, and the first two are usually the top two. Most of the time IT resources are backed up, and so a lot of times as we're working with those, the IT could be the ones that get the most benefit out of using the Appian platform, because then they're able to respond quicker to the business users, get applications spun up much faster than what they're having to do from a low code perspective, and really being able to drive the efficiencies to create future applications quicker as well.
Well, and I think that's really the most compelling part is the low code bit, right? So you're not having to recreate the wheel every time. You're able to use a platform like Appian to move very quickly with all kinds of established business rules that allow you to build these applications really at a business user level, and fairly sophisticated applications as well.
Absolutely. And that's a great transition. We'll kind of go into seeing some examples. When we talk about Appian and we talk about the Appian platform, it's not just a single use case of how someone is going to tackle one particular business problem. That the platform allows for any company in any industry to be able to tackle these complex business problems. So initially, I just want to show a couple screens here showing some just look and feel. We always call this art of the possible when we're talking about Appian, because when we develop applications, when you develop applications, those applications are specific to you and how your business runs and your look and your feel and your branding. And so we'll kind of go through and give a little bit of kind of experience from the front end, what that might look like, and then we'll go through a little bit more from the back end and show kind of that business process creation, as well as creating some UIs for the team. So here is the dashboard. So this is where we start to bring together information from many different systems. It could be Appian information. It could be information that's pulled from a different data source, being able to understand what I need to work with. So this is all of my work. I have my task. I have what's happening according to my role, in this case as an underwriter. And so it really gives you that visibility into what do I need to work on, as well as we'll see in a couple other screens from a management perspective, what do I need to take action on to help my team. And so as we go into a specific customer here, I'm able to see a lot of the information, again, pulling data from multiple sources, being able to have that information broke down. Maybe when we're talking about the target for this particular deal, this target information is being populated from a legacy data system that we have, and we don't have to replace that system. We don't have to go and do queries. The Appian application is going to bring that data and bring it to the users. But everything that I want to know about fancifulnesses here is available just through a couple clicks. So I can look at, okay, initially this information came in via email. I have access and visibility to that email. If any work that I need to do, I had an underwriting call, I can create a new information gathering experience where I can write down the summary of what I want to accomplish. I can track all of the information as we're going through and take notes, but then also being able to assign work to users to be able to do things directly from the screen. And that's what you're going to notice as we go through. It's not just about providing information to people, it's actually being able to take action on that information as well, and having things be dynamic as someone calls in and they have a question. As I change the amount that's received, we're able to see that numbers can change on the screen based on the values that we provide. So it's all about bringing that information into that one individual screen. Another example, completely different application, giving all my KPIs at the top. So here I'm more of a manager. I need to go in and look to see what's happening. I have full graphs and reporting, and that's all great to kind of see how I'm doing from a progress and how we're doing historically, but also having the ability to jump into a particular request, jump into understanding what's happening from anybody within an organization, and also knowing what are the steps, what's happening next, and have a visibility into where we are in the process. So these are all of the steps displayed visually to an end user, so nobody's ever in the dark wanting to know, oh, what happens next, or what have I already completed? You're able to create that type of visibility directly within the application. And then we'll jump over one more, and this is probably where I'll stay for the rest of the time, is working with an example fictitious reinsurance company. And in this case, I'm a claims manager. So as I open up my dashboard, I'm provided with the data from disparate systems, our intake, our settlements, our payments, our disputes, but it's all in one location for me to understand what's going on. I can see an overview of all the requests that have come in that I'm responsible for, that's within my department. I can see how they're trending. I can see if work is overdue, but I can also take action on that. I can create a new claim directly from my dashboard. I can view the trends from a historical perspective. I can also go in and configure settings. So it's not just taking action on existing work, but maybe I want to change a threshold of when somebody gets paid in this example. Able to configure kind of how the process runs as we are working within the system. And then of course, all my tasks here at the bottom. So the first thing that jumps out to me is there's some red happening. So I've got, 45 days is our average processing time for intake. Well, our SLA, as we can see, is 30 days. So we're taking, 50% longer. I'm not a math whiz, so I shouldn't have said that. We're taking 15 more days. I believe that's 50% longer than our SLA is set for. And so this is where we then start to think and go into, what does this mean for me? How can we improve this claims process that we're talking about so that we can reduce and we can meet our SLAs? And so I'm going to go into, this is now the back end or the designer view of Appian. So I have this claims processing process. You can see we've got swim lanes, we've got these individual nodes that are a task or something needs to happen there. We have a palette of all the different low code capabilities that are available. And as we go through, we'll kind of bring those in and show how to configure those. But what we do see is we have a lot of human-centric tasks. And so this is an area for us to look at all the amount of time that it takes to go through work, the average amount of time it takes to complete it. Are there ways for us to be able to put the right worker in the right role to do the right task? And so the first thing we have is we have a determined document type. Well, when a document gets uploaded, we should very easily be able to know what type of document that is when it comes into the system. A lot of technology out there to allow for that, whether it's OCR. We have kind of gone to the next level. Instead of using OCR, it's more of vision and in more intelligent ways to look at documents to be able to classify those. So we'll just make this a task to classify that document. Now, once that document gets classified, the next step is, well, the human has to go and look at the information on the document and go through the process of typing in that claim detail into that specific legacy claim system. And so instead of having our worker do that, we'll again go through and we'll have our doc extraction automatically do that for us. So instead of a worker, a user having to do that, now we have a resource that's able to go through and really extract that information that we need. Now, what might that look like? So here's an example of a task. And as the user, I need to go through and extract the data out of this particular document. Now, running it through our data extraction, it's extracted a good amount of information automatically. So we've got our claimant name, we've got some types. So we're seeing this information that's automatically been populated, even a line item here for a table, being able to extract the data from those tables so that it can be used further along in the process. We've got our totals, and we even have it where it's able to pick up a signature there at the bottom of the document. But if you notice, the very first two items were not picked up. And so the insured company, we see that Bolston decided, having their logo over on the side, just made the document look a little bit better. Well, this is the first time that the extraction has seen, and our machine has seen a company name over on the side. So I can simply highlight that area, oops, and put it in to our reinsured company name. So, and we'll go back here and grab that data to put in to our signature. But then the last thing we need is we need a policy number. And unfortunately, there isn't a policy number on this document. So what that means for most people today, even if they had the capability to extract data, if there's ever a missing piece or the confidence level is not at a certain threshold, well, then humans have to get involved. And so in this case, the policy number, I need to swivel chair, go to another tab, go to another screen, and update that. And instead, I'm going to jump into that user interface that we talked about for what I'm actually doing and give the users access to the information so that they don't have to swivel chair. And so here we have that task that we were just working on. We have information in here, and I want to make it easier for my team, whoever's doing this reconciliation, if they ever need to look up policy information, I want them to be able to do it directly from the same screen that we're working with. So I'm going to put in a section here. I'm going to go in and add some capabilities. I want it to be collapsible so that it's not taking up a lot of real estate if they don't need it. And then we'll go ahead and put in a grid of information. Now this grid allows us to provide them not just one item, but it allows us to provide multiple data elements. And so I have a rule, a query that I've created that interacts with our Salesforce.com customer search integration. And I'm going to provide the value of who we're looking for. What will happen is that because I set up that rule to be able to do that query, then that read-only grid is going to be populated with that information that comes back from the query. So we have it at our fingertips, and we're able to, when we go into the preview of what that looks like, as I expand those policies, I'm able to see that grid and be able to copy that information or be able to have them click on that to automatically fill that policy number. But it's really about giving the users the access to the information that they need when they need it and in the same screen. And one last thing here, we're looking at it from a user perspective, but with everything inside of Appian, it's all instantly mobile ready. It uses native capabilities with your phone. So in this case, if I was looking at it from a phone perspective, the mobile capabilities, everything is still dynamic, pulling out information from machine learning, going through algorithms. All of that is available in working on my mobile device, but then maybe I have an extra capability here that as someone is going out and completing some work, or they need to sign off on what's happening, they're able to sign, that's about as good as I can get, directly on their mobile device. You're able to take pictures, you're able to upload documents, everything that you would normally do from native mobile capabilities, but you're able to see this right while you're designing and working in the designer user interface. So we've helped with that. We've gone through the process of extracting that information where we've given it to the users to be able to access the data that they need to access. And then it comes out of that extraction. What's the case? What's the task that we need to do? How do we need to review it? Is there some exceptions that are being thrown? But if not, we've extracted all that data, we've got it into the system. Now we need to turn around and put that data into our legacy system. Our legacy system does not have an API, and our team is not going to try to put some wrapper around it to make it have APIs. And by I say my team, I'm speaking here of the customer. So what Appian allows you to do is, instead of having that be a manual task, this is exactly what a robot is designed for. So I'm going to execute a robotic process. And if it doesn't need to go to review, it can go directly into that process and start working through what it needs to do. Now, that claims app, I'll just show it briefly. It's an old application, and I am not going to go through the whole process. I need to click a tab, and unfortunately, the stop share and the tab are too close together. So I've restarted sharing and was able to select the tab right under that bar without stopping this time. So within Appian, you have the ability to leverage your existing investments into RPA. But if you don't have investments in RPA and you're looking for ways to augment that and to start using robotic processes to do some more things from a robotic process integration. Oh, go ahead, Doug, you had a question?
Well, keep going. I do have a question, but I'll wait for you to finish up because I think it's kind of a broader perspective question.
Okay, great. So, you don't have a way to use RPA today. We have RPA as part of the platform. Again, we talk about complete automation from beginning to end. And so what your robot allows you to do is you actually can go in and train, teach the robot what they need to do, and go through that process. And so quickly, I'm going to basically, as I mentioned, train or teach the robot what I want it to do. And it's going to actually record my screen. And it's going to do all of the capturing of my actions on its own. So right now, it has opened up that claims application here in a new window. And you'll notice as I click, that information gets captured over on the right-hand side. If it's passwords, it's automatically hiding those. And what I need to do is I need to input that claim information. So I need to create a new claim. I need to type in some information. There are some things, we talked about having those line items. I'm not sure how many there are, but I need to add lines. I need to add my total, add my payment amount. And you're seeing everything on that right-hand side that it's recording what I'm doing. And so what that looks like from a kind of an execution perspective is the information is available and I'm able to test it, and probably can't see, but I will bring my hands up off the keyboard for proof that this process is going to run. And now you're able to see everything that the task that we just recorded is able to do. So it makes it a much, again, lower barrier of entry for the robot to come here to access these legacy systems, build in the workflow that Appian can then orchestrate to go through and put in information from different rows, different lines. And as you can see at the top also, Chrome is being controlled by an automated test software to fill all that data out. And once it's finished, it then comes back into the process model to then be able to be used in the next step. I was going to pause there. Doug, did you have something?
Well, I'm struck by that particular part of the demo. Obviously, the robot part is money, but but also from my broader perspective, you know, what I'm seeing with a platform like this is the ability to allow the modern business information worker who is not purely a coder, but understands applications because they've been using them in their business life for quite some time, very sophisticated cloud-based applications and all kinds of other applications on their mobile devices. So they know what they want. They've seen the processes working, and they understand the functionality, and they understand the information that they're able to derive from these applications. And so they already have a really good sense for how applications can create efficiencies. And they also are sophisticated enough in this modern day to be dangerous.
Right.
and so you know, they're looking for tools. They don't want to be held back. I mean, I think that's really the key, is that they don't want to see a wall of application development bureaucracy in their way from doing something that they know needs to get done. And this is the kind of tool that slots right in and says, okay, you know, now you can be dangerous and and bring value to the organization ultimately.
Absolutely. And that, again, you know, not maybe intentionally, but that's also kind of the differentiation between a low code business only developed application, where it does become dangerous because you don't know what's happening, as compared to a platform that you build on. You can add all of your benefit, all of your knowledge, what you do in day-to-day systems, what will actually help you, but you still have great alignment with your IT, with the development, the testing, the UIs, production, all of the DevSecOps piece of things that are usually missing when you talk about just a low-code application building.
Well, and I think you're also able to overcome perhaps some of the app dev blind spots, if you will, because they aren't necessarily business users and they don't necessarily see some of the functionality that would be obvious to a business user.
Absolutely. And so your IT can put up the guardrails to make sure that you're not dangerous. You know, you right. Can get in that little go-kart with the metal connector at the bottom. That's, you know, you can go as fast as you want and you can turn just enough, but you're still staying on the track.
That's great.
Not hitting hay bales. So then the last kind of piece of our process is, once we have that data, we've updated the information in that legacy system, we then want to go out and update our CRM, get information back into that, so that other people that are not, you know, necessarily part of the process also has access to that information. And so again, when we talk about integrations, we talk about automation. What we're going to do for this last step is we want to call a specific integration. And when we talk about creating, by configuring and setting these items up with low code, I can put in, okay, what is an integration that I've already created for this application, or I've created for other applications, but everything that we create is reusable. So once you've created it once, you're able to then leverage that for future applications, which continually removes the debt of building new applications, or the time commitment to build new applications by leveraging what you already have. And so there we have our last one is our call and update our CRM, and we know it's Salesforce because of our no code and low code connectors that are come pre-built within Appian. We actually see the logo there as well. So in this example, we've gone through and we've taken what was a 45-day worth of time of going through this process, and we've been able to get the right worker to do the right work, to be able to handle any exceptions or things that kind of go outside of our specific decisions and process that we want. And all of those exceptions where it's not going to be a straight through process, that's where we're going to leverage and use our workers to do what they're good at, which is to think about things and make decisions where they have to, weigh the best of multiple options that are all good options. And so we've reduced it down really to just that 5-day where we want somebody to go through and review those claim details. So we want to kind of wrap up here and make sure that if we have any specific questions that have come in from the audience, hopefully you've been using your chat there to ask any questions, but we want to kind of leave some time here at the end to make sure that we're able to provide specific insight to our viewers today.
Yeah, so let's jump into some questions while we have a few more minutes. One of the questions that we've seen is, what's the difference between low code and no code? Might seem obvious to you, but I'm not sure it's obvious to everybody.
Those words have almost become interchangeable, and when people think low code, they think no code. They're like, okay, I'm just going to point and click. I think, as we talked about earlier, even the no or the low code side of things has many different iterations of how complex you have for low code. No code is a way that you basically are limited to what you can do, and you can just kind of make choices and make options. Low code gives you a little bit more flexibility, where you're able to go in and maybe add a little bit more dynamicism. I don't even know if that's a word. Maybe it is now. To a form or to a process, and it gives you a little bit more flexibility. When we think about low code, we think about how can we make it easy for a user to interact and to work within Appian. So we want to make very complex things. We still want to keep that capability. We don't want to limit the capabilities, like, oh, you can't have decisions and you can't do this because you're low code. No, we want low code to be a way that we reduce the barrier of entry so that people can create and do very complex things. Just makes it a lot easier for them to do it.
Well, and I know you have built a fairly well-established reputation working with very large organizations, and I think Gartner actually has you rated in the top for working with global companies. Tell us a little bit about where you're getting traction right now for this solution. Vertical, size of company, business, line of business areas, levels within organizations.
The easy answer is you name it. It's really, yes, we work with very large organizations. We solve multi-million-dollar problems, and they use Appian to do that. But we also work with many institutions regardless of vertical. So whether it's supply chain, whether it's financial services, whether it's insurance, anybody who has a problem, has a need to automate a workflow, again, where it incorporates people, where it incorporates data, where it incorporates automation and different workers, and want that in an end-to-end process, that's where the most traction comes from. It's not kind of as we looked about how customers use this, it's not really the one or the two, it's not the bolt-on or the standalone. It's really how do we catch up in this to this whole digital transformation? Everybody is having that push going forward today. And when they realize the power and the speed and the flexibility of Appian, that's the customers that are coming the quickest.
And so one question we got from the audience is around security. Can you speak a little bit about the security that's built into the application or the platform?
Absolutely. So there is kind of twofold. You have the application security. You have we are hosted in the cloud, so you have all of those certifications are around the Appian Cloud certifications that are there for the process. But then you also have all the security around the users. So everything within Appian is role-based, user-based. You set up all your groups and permissions to make sure that the right people can access the right information, can do certain things based on where they are in the process. And again, it is an enterprise application. So having the right data show up for the right people is something you can do very easily within Appian.
So we have another question around experience monitoring capabilities. So how do you ensure consistent user experience across different platforms, web, mobile, etc.?
Great question. And I'm going to stop saying great question, because the first time I don't say great question, then I'll hurt your feelings, Doug. So I'll stop doing that.
This one wasn't mine.
Excellent.
So it is a great question.
It is a great question. It came from the panel, came from our attendees. So when it comes, and of course, I just lost the question. When
experience monitoring
to the experience, right,
yeah.
of the different roles, that's really where your customer service team, your organization as a company is reaching out and understanding what's happening with the users. Now, everything that they do within Appian, whether it's your specific team or even from a customer perspective, allowing a customer portal to provide communication back and forth and allow them to do more self-service things, you're going to see those things happen within a process. And then all of your reports and analytics are going to kind of show you where you have bottlenecks, where things are slowed down. And you're even able to see, okay, this experience was faster on a mobile device than it was on a tablet or on a laptop. Was there a specific reason for that? You have the flexibility to use everything identically, both for a mobile device as well as for a laptop, but you can also make things different based on the different user that is going to be experiencing and working through that process.
I have another question about Appian Records or Appian Records.
It's records. Yep. So I didn't bring that up because it is an Appian term that probably no one on this call knows what an Appian record is. So
well, somebody does.
What we think about from a record perspective is everything that you want to know about something. It is an entity. In what we were looking at earlier with some examples, it would be the case. So if I create a new case, that case could be a record, and usually is a record, that is going to incorporate all of the data and give me that full 360-degree view of the case, with also links to the customer, which has its own record, or a supplier, which has its own record. So it's what I care about tracking within an organization is kind of what we refer to as a record inside of Appian. And you're able to say, hey, these are the data sources that I want to incorporate to fill this one particular record. And it can be from multiple areas. You can pull in your CRM data, you can pull in order information, you can pull in financial information, all from disparate systems, and bring that to one particular view.
So a couple more questions. We got a couple more minutes. One would be around knowing when you're ready for a platform like this. So when does a company typically reach out to you? Are they trying to solve a specific problem, or are they Or are they just seeing it as, another tool to play that leapfrog in the digital transformation?
Again, it's both. A lot of times it's a specific problem, though. We're being asked, either from a business case, business users, they say, we have this problem, it takes forever. We've got to figure out a way to modernize it. It's all email and Excel and spreadsheets and Access database, and it's a pain. And we're actually losing employees because they don't enjoy working in this environment. We need a way to modernize this process. And so that's one area where they'll come to us, and then we start working with them, showing them how Appian could handle that, and then work with their IT team. The other side is an IT organization says, hey, we've got this backlog. We've got to get through and build these applications for the business. The business is what makes money. How can we speed up our digital transformation? How can we be flexible? And so they reach out at times to say, we want Appian to be, going forward, what we're going to build all of our mission critical applications on to help our enterprise. So we get it from both sides with who actually reaches out and contacts us, but it ends up being that we all work in collaboration with the business side, with IT, and with Appian to help solve those problems.
Well, and the last question to that last point is, how do they reach out to Appian? What's the best path for contacting and maybe starting a trial or some other proof of concept?
Absolutely. So there are two ways. You can always just go to Appian website, and there will be a little chat bot that pops up that says, hey, how can we help? And you can say, hey, I have a question about this, and someone will get in contact with you. The other side would be the Appian community. So going to our Appian environment, going to the community site, you can actually sign up for a almost 100% fully functional designer developer environment that you're able to go in, you're able to create and play. As long as you're logging in and using it, it's going to stay active. So it's not like a 5-day or a 7-day trial. You can have this for as long as you want to go in there and play around with it. And by signing up for community, you'll also be able to be contacted to say, hey, is there anything we can help you with specifically, or just kind of looking to play around. But those are basically the top two ways to contact and get your hands on Appian.
Well, this has been great. Jonathan, thank you very much for sharing that demo and the complete walkthrough of the Appian platform. Very much appreciated.
Thank you so much. This has been great.
All right. Thanks. And we would encourage you certainly to go to Appian.com and check out everything that they're offering for the low-code platform that we just went through. We're also covering application development, business process automation, business process management at Solutions Review, and certainly have a lot of Appian content, as well as a lot of low-code and no-code content at our site. We hope you found this useful. We hope you found these Spotlight series beneficial in terms of diving deeper into some of these solutions and really getting under the covers and seeing everything that they offer. By all means, check in with our calendar and see what we've got coming up. I think we have a full schedule coming up over the next several quarters. And until then, thanks very much for joining us.